Alright boys, welcome back to another video. Swaggy here. You can also find me over at Daily Colts. Today we're going to be previewing the Broncos game. If you look at NFL and ESPN, all 4 of their analysts picked Denver to win this game. And if you go over to the NFL's official YouTube channel, all 10 of their analysts picked Denver to win this game, which means that 14 professional analysts have us losing this one. If the Colts do lose this, their season is over. The Texans would have to lose their next 4 straight games. We'd have to win our next 3 to make the playoffs because the wild card's out of reach. I mean, I guess technically speaking, the Ravens and Chargers could also fall apart, but realistically speaking, we'd have a 4% chance to make the playoffs after losing it. So that's just not going to happen. But if the Colts win it, we're talking about them having over a 50% chance. They can get up to a 70% chance with the Ravens and Chargers loss. So things are about to get crazy. But the biggest thing is just taking care of business. We can't be looking at Tennessee, Jacksonville, New York. We got to focus on right now. So let's talk about the significance of this game and how the Colts can pull it out. I do want to say off of the rip that I've watched every Broncos game but their week 1, which was in Seattle. I do think Denver is good, but I don't think they're as good as people are saying they are. If you look at their defense since week 9, they're giving up a ton of explosive plays through the air, the 6th most passing deep yards in football. They also have the highest passer rating to deep passes. In the 4th quarter, no team is better than the Colts at scoring, which means that if we go into the 4th tied or trailing slightly or even winning, I think we've got a great chance. If we go into the 4th quarter down 20 points, then I don't think that's a great spot to be in. But if the Colts can keep it close going into the 4th, they have a huge advantage because of Anthony Richardson. If he runs the ball, he's going to lower his shoulder with a game on the line. There's probably not many defensive backs, if any, that are going to be able to come up and hit him. I mean, like Budda Baker, maybe there's a few, but when Richardson needs to get to the end zone, he'll find a way. Also, just Alec Pierce has been a man possessed in the 4th quarter. Josh Downs will play in this game. He's practiced all week. We're also going to have Ryan Kelly out there. So our offensive line, more than likely, is going to be at right guard Mark Glowinski, right tackle Matt Goncalves. Braden Smith, by the way, is out for the season, if you guys didn't know. At center will be Kelly, left guard Quentin Nelson, and then left tackle Bernard Ryman. So this is about as healthy as our offensive line has been since, week 1? I mean, we don't have Fries, we don't have Smith, but Goncalves has played well. Glowinski played well last week, played elite against the Patriots. Bornolini's played well. Kelly, maybe they'll switch on and off. I mean, Bornolini should play, honestly, just because he's been that good. And then Nelson, Pro Bowl level this season. Bernard Ryman, Pro Bowl level this season. The tight ends, they have to have their best game of the year. We saw Mo Ali Cox catch a 4th and 7 or whatever on that final drive against the Patriots. Good job by him. But that was all Richardson, just being able to get out of the pocket. There was a free rusher in to make a play. Getting Downs out there is going to be huge. Alec Pierce, you'd have to imagine we're going to see a lot of Patrick Surtain against him. Surtain's not going to be in the slot against Josh Downs. He'll probably be on Pittman a little bit, but if he's against Pierce, I think Richardson has to believe in him. Now, we did see Richardson throw at Christian Gonzalez and it was intercepted. You got to be smart with it, but I'm talking about specifically deep down the field. If you have Surtain against Pierce, you want to attack that matchup because Pierce, I believe in him, and I truly do. Best corner in football, one of the best corners probably of this generation, but still, you got to win and lose with your guys. JT, the Colts have to get him going. I kind of don't blame him for the struggles lately just because the O-line's been so derailed with injuries. But in this one, like I said, it's about as healthy as it's been, so he's going to have to go out there and make some plays. We can't just have Richardson dropping back, let's say 30, 35 times in this game and expect to win. We've got to just get in the short situation so Richardson can either run the ball, hand it off. We want to keep Denver guessing. They're going to send a lot of pressure, which means man coverage. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to blitz a lot. That's a disadvantage. It's actually an advantage because we know it's coming. How they're going to do it, maybe they'll pretend to blitz and they'll drop guys, but who really knows, man. But the Colts, they're going to have a lot of one-on-ones. And you're going to have Josh Downs in the slot. You're going to have Pittman and Pierce on the outside. Adonai Mitchell is going to get a chance. Mitchell, I don't know if he's had a good game all season. He hasn't been trash or anything, but he hasn't been the guy we expected, right? There was talks about him being even the number 2 receiver this season. I think most people thought that it would be either Downs or Pittman, and then maybe the second guy would be Mitchell. From a talent perspective, I think Mitchell has the most to offer. But production-wise, I mean, he's been the worst, so he's got to get going here. We're not going to have Ashton Doolin, which more of a special teams loss, but he's a guy that, he's just a guy who can make some plays, man. We saw him in the week, we have to go back to week 1 against the Texans. I was just rewatching that game, and he ended up catching a touchdown in that one, which is pretty cool. In terms of our defense, what, we're 30. I think we're 31st against the run. We're just bad. We're just flat out bad. So cover two. The Colts play a lot of cover two. Bo Nix, he knows that. He knows he's not going to be under a lot of pressure in the sense of being blitzed. Yeah, maybe the Buck and Pay and Odengbo. Lewis is questionable right now. Like these guys and Latu, I'm sure they're going to get some wins, but the Colts don't blitz a lot. I think that's a recipe for disaster. If anything, think about it this way. You want to send pressure because you want the quarterback, especially a young rookie quarterback, to make quick decisions and to throw it into tight windows. The Colts can't just allow Bo Nix to just sit back. The most accurate quarterback in college last season. He's been accurate this season. You can't just allow that. So Gus Bradley, I think his job is on the line. If the Colts lose this game and give up a ton of yards and points, Gus Bradley should be fired instantly, literally the second the game's over. Actually, he should be fired with seconds even remaining on the clock. But if Gus Bradley has a good game, let's say Bo Nix throws for like 220 yards, he has maybe like a couple of interceptions, like a touchdown. Like he doesn't really do too much, and the Colts win. Legitimately, I think that changes everything for Gus Bradley. But even if the Colts do win, and he gives up a ton of yards, and our offense is just amazing, this is going to be a huge test for Gus Bradley because first of all, like every Colts fan listening more than likely wants him fired. It's funny because Bo Nix, if you guys saw his interview, he was talking about Gus Bradley, and he said that he does a good job of not giving up explosive plays, which he's not wrong. The Colts don't give up. I mean, I don't know if that's actually statistically true. I feel like I'd have to go look, but the Colts give up a lot of yards. It might be coming in front of them, but it's still a lot of yards. And we've seen teams methodically just march down the field and put up yards. Like I pull up the Packers game, I'll pull up the let me look at our schedule. Literally just from the eye test, I can tell you guys games we give up a ton. The Jags games immediately comes to mind. I have so many tabs open. So Packers game, the Jags game back in week 5. What else? Let's go with. It's funny because you look at the Buffalo game, we didn't really give up that many yards, right? Like 280 to Josh Allen. Yeah, we kind of did. 280. It's just because it's Josh Allen, it doesn't seem like that much, but 280 is a lot of yards. But it was 2 picks, no touchdowns. So the Colts actually didn't really do that bad. Gave 135 yards rushing. Lately, the Colts defense hasn't been terrible. I'd say New England was frustrating, man. Like Drake May throws for 238 yards, but look at the efficiency, 24 of 30. They ran for 200 yards. There we go. That's the game I'm looking for. Because the Lions game, we actually did pretty well defensively. The Bills game, remember, we gave up a pick 6. So they only technically scored, 23 on us. Good job there. Minnesota game. Houston game defensively, we were good. Remember, Richardson threw an interception, on our own, 10-yard line, and then they scored a touchdown a couple plays later. So the defense, it's had its moments this season, but it's just been bad against the run. Teams are running the ball at will against us. And the Broncos, they don't run the ball well. They have of late, but they don't have even their running back situation figured out. They use 3 different running backs. So the Colts have to take advantage of that. But I can't believe we're actually exactly on the dot 12 hours away from this football game. So me recording this, we're 24 hours. 12 hours would be crazy. 3 a.m. Colts game. We're 24 hours away from this game, the biggest Colts game since Week 18 of last year. If the Colts win this, all of a sudden they go to 7-7. They have the tiebreaker against both Denver and Miami. They'd be a game back of Denver. The Colts have Tennessee, New York, and Jacksonville. And the Broncos, they have Chargers in their building, and then they have to go at Cincinnati. And when I say in their building, I mean in Los Angeles, at Cincinnati and versus Kansas City. I don't think the Chiefs will play their starters in Week 18, so I'm going to give the Broncos a win there. All they have to do is lose to whether it be Cincinnati or Los Angeles. The Bengals, they're not the type of team that is just not going to try if they can't make the playoffs. They're still going to go out there, and they've got a top 5 offense. They've got one of the best receivers we've seen in a long time in Jamar Chase. And then the Chargers, that's a short week too. So if the Colts beat the Broncos, then they have a short week against the Chargers. That's beautiful. That's like music to our ears as Colts fans. But the Colts have got to get this one, man, or none of it else matters.